Hey, 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 everybody. Welcome to Making Connections with your girl, Aly. I hope everybody is having a wonderful day. It's beautiful where I am, but just because we're alive, right? It's a beautiful day. And so, you guys know we are here every Monday at 2 p.m. and every Saturday at 12 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. And I'm just excited about life, and I'm excited to get into this conversation. Our guest today is Miss Tina Crawford. She is the creator of Sweet Honey Coaching, and she has a Facebook group, Sweet Honey and Sacrifice. That's the name of the group. And we're just going to talk about some stuff. But hey, Tina, how are you?
I'm good. Thanks for having me.
Yes, I'm excited. And so, since this is your first time, with the family, just want to give you an opportunity to introduce yourself before we get started.
Okay. Well, I'm Tina, as Ali said. Um, Sweet Honey Coaching is my fun venture. I do premarital, marriage, and intimacy coaching. And so relationships are my jam. I love talking the relationship stuff. So um, just really to encourage and to help relationships that are struggling to find a way out of that space and back into a healthy space, and for those that are healthy already, just how do we keep cultivating that health, and how do we keep growing in that, and how do we keep the spicy alive, and how do we um, just continue on that right path of staying connected together as a couple. So I have 4 kids. So ages 9 to 20, 2 boys, 2 girls. And I've been married to my husband, Dan, now for 20 years. And we are high school sweethearts, tried and true.
I think they are so cute. I just love the pictures you guys take together and you post because, let's face it, you guys been together 20 years. You've had some issues along the way. You don't agree on everything. But after 20 years, the photos you post are so, just fun. And, I see genuine smiles, because you've worked through that, right?
Yes. Yes.
Yeah.
Lots of work and trials and growing and changing. And yeah, all that stuff. I mean, you know who you were when you're 18 compared to when you're almost 40. You're not quite the same person that you used to.
Exactly. Exactly. I
So,
was I was doing something yesterday, and I was like, I told my friend, I said, "Well, I'm gonna call you back. I said, let me get something to drink before this next Zoom meeting takes place." I said, and I'll call you right back in between. I didn't go get anything to drink. I didn't even get on the Zoom. I fell asleep. I was like, "What?
oh,
What happened?"
yes,
So
that
yeah, we're
happens.
different people.
Yeah, that happens for sure.
Well, I know when I was scrolling through Facebook, or you had mentioned your group, I was looking at it and I thought it was so interesting. And I was like, I'm not married, but I'm about to get in this group because she's giving some good nuggets. And in the case I should get married one day, hopefully, I'll remember some of these things. And I liked just like one time you were telling the ladies to like send text messages to their husbands and stuff like that. I mean, and that's really good information though. I mean, it's the little things,
Yeah,
right?
yeah. It's all the things we don't think about, and the things that we forget after you're in this comfortable place and you're like, oh, I'm going to see him later at home. And you kind of forget that um, the fun, right? I mean, when we talk about sending like cute, sexy, messages, I don't mean like, hi, how's your day going? Right? I mean, we're talking about like, hey, babe, can't wait till you get home later. Or, I love it when, you come home and we have time to snuggle, or hey, want to get it on later? Right? Like,
Right, right.
what's the fun things that keep you engaged throughout the day when you're apart? And or even when you're home together, like my husband's working upstairs in the kitchen right now. He's on his own Zoom. And just the little things, before I came down here, I ran over real quick, make sure give him a quick kiss because I wasn't going to be sitting in the same room anymore.
Right.
It's these little things that we forget to do. And I love, love having you single ladies join the group, because I feel like it just brings so much more diversity into the conversations and the
Mm-hmm.
questions, right? And so you've got these women who've been married, some, longer than me, and who are able to speak into those things. And it's so important to know what you're getting into. I was on a podcast yesterday, and it was, what do you wish you knew about marriage before you got married? That was what we were talking about.
Oh, cool. I
And
have to go back and listen.
so I thought about, you don't we don't talk about that enough. You think you're going to fall in love and it's going to be great, and then you're going to live together and you're going to see each other all the time. It's just going to be so lovely all the time. And then you're like, oh, this isn't what I thought, right? Because you get into that normal routine and it's like, where'd the fun go? Where'd the attractiveness go? And why aren't they telling me how beautiful I am anymore? And you forget those things. And so I am really a one for keep doing that stuff, every day.
Mm-hmm.
My husband can never tell me enough times, wow, honey, you look so good today. Tell me 5 times a day and I'm still gonna
Yes, I'm down for that.
so yeah, so single ladies, come join us.
Yeah, and like, and I thought about when I saw that too. I was like, well, we as women always want the man to send us stuff, buy us flowers, send us messages, tell us how good we look. But do we reciprocate? Why can't we tell him he looks hot in those jeans, or or send, we don't, maybe not flowers, but a cupcake or something to his job. You know what I'm saying? I mean,
Yeah,
we have to be creative in that sense too, right?
yeah, it's so important. um we forget, right? Because we're taught growing up that men are tough, right? They have this exterior, and um they have feelings. Like, nobody wants to talk about that. Men have feelings, right? they
Yeah.
they can be sensitive, and they can not feel wanted and not feel needed and not feel desired just the same as we do. And so yeah, you're 100% right. Like, yes, the wife should be doing the same things that she wants to receive in return. And when
Yeah.
it goes both ways, then it doesn't fall as fast, right? If you have two people working to do the same things,
Right.
it stays together better.
And I think too, and I mean, I'm just talking about just even friends,
Yeah,
friends that I have that, we reciprocate and we talk to each other on a consistent basis. I mean, even when we disagree, I mean, it's not as hard to overcome it
right.
because we're just like, well, whatever. I don't agree with you. Just go away for a minute. And it's okay because we know about 30 minutes, we're going to be like, whew, it's time to eat dinner. What you want?
Right, right. And you know the feelings that are behind that, right? I mean,
Right.
you know that even though you're arguing or you're disagreeing, you know the basis of where your friendship is coming from. So you know
Right.
that foundation, you know that the love is there, and it's okay to disagree. It's okay. It's okay to have an argument. Now, I'm not one for, like, you know,
Physically.
dukes up fights, but
Right.
um to disagree, I mean, if someone's not disagreeing, I'll say this: if you never have a disagreement, somebody's lying.
Somewhere down the road, look for an explosion because it's going to happen.
Yeah, somebody's not being honest for whatever the reason is, and we all know that dishonesty doesn't get us anywhere good in any relationship of any kind.
True. And and that's true because and I love it really because I'm like, cuz I know some married people who are married and they don't really like each other, it don't seem like. But at the same time, you see whenever anything happens, they come together. You know what I'm saying? So I know that there's still like something there. They still appreciate and love one another, but sometimes they can't get past other things. And so, and then too, I love it because again, I get to hear these interactions. And
Right.
so I'm like, oh, okay, this is something I have to think about, something, I have to take into consideration.
Right. Yeah. I mean, for sure. And love becomes complacent, right? Like, how many times we say, "Oh, I've fallen in love," right? But love is so much more than that, because there has to be action behind it. There has to be intentionality. There has to be this desire to grow and to keep it growing and to stay together. That's whether you're talking about, me and my best friend, um, who's a female, or me and my husband. If you're not being intentional in your relationship, it's going to fizzle, and
Right.
you're going to end up losing contact. And so when you talk about those marriages that you see that you're like, wow, I don't even know if they like being around each other, and then something happens and they come together, it's because there's the foundation. But how
Mhm.
sad that they're not living the joy every day
Right.
that can be
Right.
built on that foundation. And it's so simple. We just lose sight. And so a lot of times in my coaching, that's what we're doing. We're taking relationships that exist that are missing a component of some kind or components, and we're figuring out why, and then how do we recreate them, and how do
Mhm.
we recreate them so that they'll build up instead of apart. And so um I love it. I could talk it all day.
And
uh,
then, and I think that's what's good because you're truly passionate about it. Like you didn't start this to say how women are the greatest and we deserve, you're not. It's nothing like that. I mean, you truly are, you concerned about the whole family. I mean, you've even had the ladies to post, pictures of with them and their children and different things like that, and just the, questions that you put out there is so cool. And so let's go back to like even like the arguing situation.
okay.
As we were mentioning, when we were talking, during the holidays, it seems like there's more disagreement. Okay, well, we went to your family's house. Well, I don't like your cousin the way she treats me, and that kind
Right.
of stuff going on. So let's talk about that. How can they get over that?
Oh man. Yeah, so I was thinking about this because we kind of had a little heads up we were going to talk about it, but it's hard. I mean, it's hard. Okay, so you think about it when you're just dating somebody, right? And it's new, and everybody wants to please the other person, right? So it's like, oh, let's go to, will you come with me to my family's for Christmas? And say, like, yeah, babe. Like, of course I'm in, right? Because you just you want to spend the day together, you want to make the other person happy. And then when you get married, it's not that you don't want to make the other person happy anymore, but now you have this combination of families, right? And
Right.
so his family is my family is his family. And so it gets really difficult when you're saying, whose family are we going to go to? Well, right, I don't know. And so then we've struggled with this a lot, actually, in our own relationship. And um I would cry because I thought we should go to my family's house, on the day, you know
Mm-hmm.
and but he had grandparents still alive and aunts and uncles and cousins who lived near us, and so they do the whole family thing. And it wasn't that way with my family, so we could easily go a different day and it would be the same experience. And compromise, that is what it comes down to. And being honest, right? Again, that honesty with your feelings thing. And it's hard. It's really hard. But if you can plan those things and talk about those things in advance, and don't wait until November 30th to decide where you're going to spend Thanksgiving that already
Right.
passed, right?
Right.
So you're already fighting about it because it came and went, and you didn't do it the way you wanted. And so now it's a big thing, and you can't even go back and fix it. Like, it's already over.
Right.
So
Right.
that would be like biggest tip number one: plan in advance and give yourself plenty of time to talk about it. Find the compromise. Don't try planning the day before or 2 days before. Um, because it is hard. And if you're lucky and you can get your families to get together,
That part.
but yeah, it's holidays are hard. Holidays are hard because everybody's involved. You've got parents to please, grandparents to please. We've got our kids have cousins who are their age, so we want them to be with their cousins. And it really just takes a lot of communication, Aly. I mean,
You're right. And I mean, because I was thinking about it. I mean, it's like, and then it tends to grow because then when like your kids get married,
yeah,
and there's that extra layer. So it's always, an extra layer that's going to be added. But at the same time, like you said, if everybody is giving, like you don't say no, we're going to my parents
right,
because these are. I mean, that's not fair.
right,
Well, I have parents, I have friends,
right,
and it could be even somebody who has lost their parents, but they want to go to a friend's house because in these 5 years, that's where they went
right,
when after their parents died. And
right.
so this family still might mean something very important to them. And so I think even that you have to understand those different scenarios.
Yeah, of course, 100%. Um, it's 99% going to come down to communication all the time. And
Yeah.
just allowing, I mean, I can't stress enough allowing time for the conversation, because that just brings it down a notch. It brings the stress down, it brings the anxiety down talking about it because you have time to work through it. And it's not this last minute big ordeal that's going to cause, a problem in every other area of your relationship outside of this one thing.
Right.
So just that communication piece in it. Um, it's hard. I mean, so I'm gonna be the mom now. My daughter's 20 and she doesn't live by us anymore. She lives in a different state, and she's gonna fly to be with us this Christmas. But she's got a boyfriend in a serious relationship, and I'm like thinking this might be our last like family Christmas, like on Christmas all together. So I'm starting to see the other side.
Right, exactly.
And I'm reminding myself, right? And so I'm talking to any of you parents out there that have the adult kids. Um, we remember what it was like. So, don't put all this pressure on your child to have to come to your house on Christmas, because that, or Thanksgiving, or whatever holiday, because that's coming from both sides. It's just something that the couple has to figure out together, and the parents on both sides of those relationships. Really, if they can be understanding, you're only going to benefit the relationship your child's in,
And
right?
and that's true too, because I was thinking another option is what if, now you're in a relationship and you guys just this is your first Christmas, your first Thanksgiving, and you just want to like kind of spend it with
Together.
yourselves, because
Mhm.
you both have busy jobs and you're just tired, especially
Yeah,
like Thanksgiving, because you usually only get like 1, maybe 2 days off, and you're just like,
right.
I'm just tired. Can we just like order pizza and just
Yeah,
chill out?
yeah, yeah,
But I would say like one thing I would suggest in that situation is that now the internet is awesome in that way. Schedule a Zoom
yep,
from 2 to 4. This Zoom is going to be running. Whoever pops up in it, hey,
right,
how you doing? Whoever. So I found that to be an option with
yeah.
things like that too.
That's a great idea. That's a great idea. We've actually, I mean, I guess we've actually done that last year. I think we did.
Hmm. Hmm.
'Cause we just in this past year moved away from our family. Um, so we're starting to do those things and experience those things and try to figure those all that out too.
Yeah.
It's hard. Holidays are hard, Aly. Holidays are hard when you're in relationships. You got to argue about how much money you're going to spend.
Uh, that part.
And if you have kids, then it's like even more because you got to figure out, what do you want Christmas to be like for your kids? Because it starts year, 3 or 4 when they're old
Mhm.
enough to kind of understand the whole gift receiving thing. And however you start it is the expectation for the long haul.
Truly.
And for every other kid that you add into that, right? So
That
we ended up with 4 kids, and I'm like, we can't even handle Christmas anymore. What were we thinking? But it's not just the kids either. What is the expectation for each other?
Mm-hmm.
Right? Because how many couples do I talk to after the holidays who are like, I went out of my way and I got my wife this great gift that was thoughtful and I put all this effort in and I got a gift card. Right?
Oh, yeah, I don't like gift cards.
And
Just
so even
mm-hmm.
that can put so much stress on new relationships. Old, it doesn't matter the age, old relationships, it's so stressful unless you've talked about it, unless you kind of know what each other's expectations are, right? Whether that's a spending limit or a gift number limit or no gift card, no gift cards, we're not doing that. Whatever it is, if it's not communicated, then the expectations, as you know, can be from floor to ceiling and you have no idea where that person's falling. And so the chance of hitting it right on the mark
Yeah,
is not
not very
very
often.
good. It's not very good. So yeah, holidays are rough. They can
Then,
be. They
and
can
then
be.
it's like, if you get something you don't really like, but then now the family's here, so you can't really express it. So the whole day you had an attitude, and everybody's like, "What's wrong with her?" I mean, I even with that, just pull them to the side and just be like, "I can't believe you brought me an iron. Are you serious?" And then be able to go on because I mean, I'm learning. Trust me, and it's not even in relation. Well, all kinds of relationships, like we said, that holding on to that stuff and being mad all day, not really enjoying the family that is there. You're mad because somebody didn't show up or didn't do something. But what about the people who did show up? What about the people
Right.
who are embracing you? So you got an iron. We can figure that out later.
Right.
But while the family's here, while we're here, let's make some memories. Let's be happy. And
Yeah.
it might be if you engage by the end of the day, you'd be like, well, I did tell him I wanted and this is a good iron, stings and does it, you know what I'm saying? You might be like, oh, okay, I can deal with this. So I just think learning myself, trust me, learning that communication, like you said, is the
Yep.
key and being true to how you feel about it. You know what I'm
Oh yeah.
saying?
Yeah. If you're not being honest about it, I don't care what it is, you're not helping. Right? Because how many times we say, oh, I don't want to cause a problem. And so I'm just going to keep it to myself. And, I'm not going to say anything. And then you know what you get next year? Then you get an ironing board to go with that iron that you didn't want in the first place because you didn't talk about not wanting the iron.
Good point.
So I was going to say something kind of like you were saying too, like by the end of the day, maybe you appreciate the iron. So my husband may or may not appreciate this, but one year he bought me this set of pots and pans. And I was probably in my 20s. And so I wasn't really thinking that I wanted pots and pans, for Christmas.
Yeah, for Christmas.
And they were very nice. And I must have had a facial expression, something, because later he came up and he said, I'm not thinking that you're real happy about your pots and pans. And I said, well, I mean, I like them and I know I needed them, but like, it's just not what I was like expecting, kind of.
Right.
And he's like, he said he was sorry. And he's like, I got you those because I have listened to you intentionally, like for the last couple of months, complain about the pans that we have and that you wanted this certain kind that was like non-stick. And so he had researched
Oh,
like
wow.
exactly the specific things I said I wanted in
Wow.
these pans. And I was upset about it, right? Until he said all that. And I'm like, that's the sweetest gift ever, because, because it was the intention behind it
Right.
and the thoughtfulness. He didn't just go out and get a box of pots and pans,
Right. Right.
right? Like he had heard me saying just in general all these things and got literally I couldn't have picked better had I gone to the store to pick what I wanted.
And see, and I think that's when you take the time to talk about it,
Yeah.
then you learn that, because I was just thinking, I was like, I said, I don't like gift cards, but let me take that back because like, I'm cool with like gift cards for my birthday, I think, but like not for Christmas. I don't know what the difference is. But see, like somebody could give me a gift card for my birthday, and I'm like, oh yeah, it's
Yeah.
cool. And then they get me one for Christmas, and I'm like, well, what's wrong with you? I mean, I gave you that for your birthday. You were happy. So I
Right.
think, all of it still just comes down to what? Communication.
Yeah.
So you can give me a gift card for my birthday. Anybody thinking after thinking about it. But but I'm like really, but like for Christmas, I don't know. For Christmas, I think it has to be like something thought about. Like, you went to the store and you're like, oh, she like those fuzzy socks. And I mean, it could be just as simple as some fuzzy socks and some hot chocolate or whatever. Something that, like you said, I want or like. But
Yeah.
that's just me.
Yeah, but I think that we're taught that Christmas gifts are supposed to be more thoughtful and like part of that, at least for me, it goes back to Santa Claus. I don't know if you did Santa Claus at your house,
Yeah.
but Santa Claus brought you what you wanted, right? Like we didn't ever get money or gift cards or like something that wasn't thought about. And so for me, Christmas has always just been like, oh, that's the one we have to think about. Like that's the one we don't really do money or gift cards. We try to get something that matters or just that they want.
Right.
Um, but for me, it stems back to that just learning when I was young that a Christmas gift is supposed to be thoughtful. And so I don't know where your idea of Christmas gifts stems from and why it's different than birthdays, but I think for me, we were just taught that.
Right. And I think even sometimes like even if it is a gift card, still wrap it. I think for me, I
Oh
just like to
yeah.
like open something, you know what I mean? And
Yeah.
so at least still wrap it. Don't just like throw it in a card and like, oh well, that's your present. And everybody's got 15 gifts they're opening, and you're like, okay,
Right.
because your gift card might equal all 15 of those other presents from
Right.
somebody else. So you got to think
Yep.
about that too.
Yep. That's so true. That is so true. Oh yeah, the holidays. But oh, can't the holidays be fun? I mean, when you have, when you've got best friends or whoever you're celebrating with, or if you got a significant other, if you've got a husband, they can be so fun. If you let it be fun, right? Like if you put in the work to make it fun. Um, Dan and I always have we have a budget because we live on a budget. So
Right.
this has a budget, and we only do stockings. So like no big presents and no gift cards, no money. And so we try to make it as fun as possible. Like how many things that mean something, right? Or that they want, can we fit into this stocking and stay in budget? Um, and it's just always really fun and exciting because we're really intentional about it.
Right.
And
Right.
so like everything that I get is like a lot of thought put into it. And I'm trying to listen throughout the year, like things that he might mention that he wish he had, or he wish, whatever. And you got Christmas parties and it can be such
Right.
a fun time if we don't allow the stress to just go
Right. Right.
and sit there. Um, yeah,
And
I'm
just like you
definitely a holiday lover.
Yeah, and just like you're talking about with the budget, I mean, that too, think ahead of time before the holidays come.
Yeah.
What is going to be your budget? You can even start maybe putting money aside, um, and call it your Christmas fund or what have you, so that you're not so stressed out. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? And
It's
so
a big problem.
stay to your budget the best you
Yeah.
can.
Yeah. Yeah. Finances at the holidays definitely cause a lot of stress for everybody. I mean,
Yeah,
parents, you know,
yeah,
parents who feel like they've got to do whatever they got to do, for their kids. And then um, couples, friend. I mean, even my friends, I'm like, oh my gosh, what am I going to give for so and so? And I want it to be, and I just really allow all that to really stress me out. And
mm,
so then I lose the joy and I love the holidays And then it's
Right.
over, and I'm like, I didn't even have any fun this year because all I did was worry about everything. And I missed it, right? Like
Right.
I missed all of it. I missed, just enjoying the time. And that's what it's supposed to be about.
Exactly. And
Spending
that's
time together.
and that's what I'm passionate about. Telling people, don't miss that time. Don't miss that moment. To laugh with a friend, or go throw snowballs at a family member. You know what I'm saying? Don't
Yeah,
miss that over something that's. I'm I'm just gonna say, in my age right now, it seems trivial to me. Now, 20 years ago, no, it was
right.
different. But I've learned, because now I'm like, I might not even know where those socks are anymore. You know what I'm saying? Or
Yeah,
whatever it was could have broken by now. But I don't want that relationship to be broken.
right.
So, we just
Yeah,
really have to figure out what's more important, and even Christmas, with talking to your children, what's
yeah,
it about? Let's, as much as we want to get, let's make sure we are givers to that
yeah,
extent. You know what I'm saying? Because there are
yeah.
people who are less fortunate, the people who are living out on the streets. I mean, there's so many opportunities to be able to teach in those
Oh
moments
yeah,
as well.
yeah. We yeah, we usually do a family adoption of some kind at the holidays, and my kids do the shopping, and
Hmm.
we let them help do all that. And um, Santa Claus ended at our house this past year, so they're all up to speed on that. And so now the holiday will change for us a little bit.
Yeah,
So
yeah.
um, now the holiday becomes less presents and more Jesus and more other people, and really bringing that focus back into why it really exists in the first place.
Right. That part.
And so I'm excited about that. This will be kind of our first year without having littles in the house. So
That's
I'm
cool.
excited. Yeah, I'm excited about that. But again, that all takes a lot of work and talking and partnering. Um, all of it, just all of it.
I say that it sounds like marriage and sacrifice and all that is a lot of work, and it's daily attention, correct?
Yes. So yes, I'm so glad you said that because we talk about that. We talk about that a lot. We talk about marriage being work, and I like to say that it's work. Yes, right, because it is. We have to put in the effort. We have to put in the time. We have to put in the ideas and the motions and the actions and all of that. But work doesn't have to be, oh, I got to do work, right? Like the work can be fun work. Like,
Yeah.
yes, Dan and I have days where we're just like, oh, so tired. I don't, can we just like sit and veg and do nothing? And of course, you're going to have those days, and you're going to have the days where you don't have a great conversation, and you're going to have the days where you don't really hardly even see each other that day because of work or in sports. And if you're dating because you couldn't get in a date night that day, or you couldn't meet up to see each other for a little bit or whatever it is.
Right.
um, but for the most part, if you're on a daily basis doing the work is fun. Like the work is fun. Well, I can give you a couple examples of the work that we do around here. Um, well, you mentioned already we text a lot. So that's just a really big thing. Just flirty text like "Hey, sexy," just all kinds of stuff, and so that's work, but it's really fun if you do it and you make it fun.
Right.
And we touch each other all the time. So like whether it's like a walk by in the kitchen and it's a shoulder rub, or he'll do one of these to my hair, or if I'm smacking his butt, or all of those people don't look at it as work, but that's really intentional
Yeah.
work. Those are intentional touches, intentional moments. And so those are what the work is, right? And when we sit down at night to kind of veg out and watch TV, um, it's rare that one of us turns something on and expects the other one to sit there and watch it. So if we're going to turn something on and we're going to relax together, we're watching something that we both want to watch. Like I'm not going to sit there and pretend I like watching the football game and
Right.
pretend that that's time together. Like
Right.
that's not time together. That's time in the same space, but it's not intentional time together. And so to be really intentional with your time and how you're spending it. And we'll just dump out there too. Sex is work, but it shouldn't be work. I mean, right? But
Right.
when you have those days and you're exhausted, or you had a kid on your leg all day, or your mom is ill and you're taking care of her, or whatever the case is, all of these things are interferers. They're all static. And we
Mhm.
allow that static to come in and jumble us. And instead of taking the time to intentionally kind of slough that off at the end of the day, we just let it sit there and eat at us. And and then who wants to be romantic then, right? Like
Right.
who wants to give your physical attention then to your spouse? And so it is work. It's work to be in the right mindset, to be ready to be in that space. But the actual act of being intimate together shouldn't be work.
Right. Right.
Be fun and exciting and adventurous, and yeah, we wait for so long for it.
Right.
And people forget. And so I have couples all the time, and sex is the problem, right? Like, we're not having it enough. It's not very fun. It's not good for me, but it's good for them. And it's like, because you've quit working at it, because you've quit being intentional
Right.
about it. And so that whole work thing, um, it goes for every part of every relationship.
Right. And when I was saying that, I was like, well, I don't want to say it's hard work. I was trying to figure out what else I could say, but you're right. Sometimes, like, let's just, I'm not gonna say that one, but let's just say when you're thinking about work, of
Yeah.
course, the thing that you think about, the first thing will come to you is your work. Oh my gosh, it's gonna be like my job. I don't like going there. I don't like the time I spend there. I don't like when they ask me to, go get the mail from the mailroom. You know what I'm saying? And
Yeah.
so maybe, find out something else to call it. Don't call it work, relate it to something that is exciting. Oh, I'm about to go on this vacation. Because when you get ready to
Right.
go on vacation, you're like, whoo, be free or get to sleep in a little bit. So
Yeah.
maybe one thing that will help in that situation is relating it to something that's more fun.
It's more fun.
Because like you said, I mean, but it's going to be some activities involved, and so
Right.
you want them to be enjoyable. You want to look forward to them, and even again, if tonight's not the night, honey, I'm about to pull my hair out. I just can't
Yeah.
concentrate. I mean, we can, but it ain't gonna be, So, but if you give me like 24 hours, let me finish this project. I got you, boo. You
Yeah.
know what I'm saying?
Yeah. That's it's so funny that you said that though too, because um most people know that in every relationship there's typically a high drive and a low drive. Most couples are not equally matched in that. And when you've got the one who's stressed out or who's got whatever on their plates, and whatever is going on, and there's this guilt of saying no. I mean, it's like, oh, I'm going to let him down. We're going to cause a problem, you know, then we're going to have to argue about this. And then there's
Are
this.
they gonna go get it somewhere else?
Yeah.
Because
There's just all these things. And it is so helpful sometimes, not for everybody, but sometimes for that lower drive spouse, the one who's typically saying no more often, is to know when it's coming. Because, like you said, if you say, give me 24 hours, you got to follow through. That's another thing. Spouses, you got to follow through. If you say you're going to do something, you got to find a way to do it, right? And and so if you have that and they can be thinking the next day, then right, like, okay, tonight we're going to be together. Tonight, try to think of what can I do, right? Like how can I make it fun? How can I make it purposeful? How can I make it intentional, because I already know it's happening. And so you're muted, I think.
Yeah, they're doing the lawn out there, and I didn't know if you could hear
Okay, you can hear.
it.
But that's all part of it. Is intentionality is one of my favorite words. Intentionality. If you have good intention, if you are trying to be intentional about your next move or your next time together or your next gift or your next conversation or your next bedroom escapade, whatever it is that you're doing, if you're being intentional about it, it's going to be so much better than, oh, I got to go do that.
I know, because I was thinking, I was like, but then what happens in the next 24 hours? You still didn't have a good day. Maybe your project is not finished, but I heard what you said. Stay the course, though.
Yeah.
This is what you promised.
Yeah.
Even though you know it might not be what you had planned in your head, but you still have to follow through because you don't want to keep that disappointment. It's just like with a kid. Every time you promise them you're going to do something, take them somewhere, but then you come back and you never do it, then they're not going to believe and put their trust in you.
Right. Well, and then where do you think the arguments are going to come from? Right? Because, well, that's what you said last time and you didn't follow through. So why do I even think that's going to happen? Right. And so then there becomes this disconnect, and it grows so fast. The disconnect grows so fast. Right. It's like weight gain, right? Like it takes so long to lose those few pounds. And it takes me thinking about a chocolate cake and I'm like, it's back. What?
Right. I didn't even eat it yet. Wait a minute.
Right. And it is the same thing with that disconnect that happens in marriages. Right. Is as soon as you start saying, I'm going to do this, and then you don't, it's like that gap widens immensely. Like by time 3, that gap is so far and you don't know how to get back.
Yeah.
And so then you stay in it. You just stay in the gap. Like, okay, well, I guess this is where we're at now because so-and-so's mad and I'm over here feeling guilty. And now I'm mad that they're mad and I don't even know what they're mad about. I don't know how to ask them what they're mad about. And when I ask them, they don't give me a real answer. Right. And you're in this perpetual cycle of somebody let somebody down and now we're not being honest about it. And we're not talking about why and how to recover from that. So it just is so fast.
You're right about that. I mean, because I even think about that with a friendship or whatever. I mean, that I could have been your friend for 10 years. We've done things together. You know my family situation, my budgets. But then one or two times I didn't agree with you or I didn't do what you wanted me to do. And you're like, okay, now I'm scum. Yeah. After all these years, I'm scum just because of this situation. Really? Come on now.
Right. 1 or 2 times. Yeah. And now imagine you live with that person, right? And you're legally bonded to that person. And you just sit there. And a lot of times I don't think it's that people don't want to make it better. It's that they don't know how to make it better. And they don't know where to start. They don't know where to start. And, I've talked to a lot of people because you can do marriage counseling, you can do marriage therapy, and then you've got what I do, and you can do marriage coaching. And a lot of people don't know that there's a difference in all 3 things. And so, you sit and you're thinking, you're like, well, I don't need therapy. Like we don't need therapy. Like we're fine. We're fine. There's no big thing. And then, counseling, typically people think of like, oh, they're going to make me dig into my past. And I don't want to talk about from when I was a baby all the way to, now. And how is that making me who I am? And how's that making me be how I am in my marriage? And people don't think they need it. And so they don't get help at all. And then now you've got this coaching is kind of a newer thing that's kind of coming out, all over the place. Right. And so nobody really has a great understanding of what that looks like. And so at least for me, all coaches are different. And so we all practice different. We all start different and do it different. But for me, coaching is like, I want you to tell me where you're at right now, right? Like, so fill me in the hole and tell me how you got there. and then let's climb out. Like, we don't need to stay in this space. Let's get out. And then once we get out, let's move to the other side. We don't want to go back here and stay, back in this space. We want to move
Right.
forward. And so understanding that the help is available, I think, is huge. And understanding that you don't have to go to coaching or counseling or therapy for years and years for your marriage.
Right.
You can come, you could come see me, and maybe in a month we're done. It doesn't have to be this process that you're in forever. And
Right.
people just don't know, right? And they think their problems aren't big enough.
And two, I would say when people come, if you go, be honest.
Yeah.
Tina, I'm just using her for example, is not going to judge you on whatever it is you say because everybody's different. Everybody is affected with what happens differently. So be honest because I know I've been to coaching myself or therapy, and she might ask me a question and be like, I don't feel like talking about that today, so I'm just gonna say this
Right.
just so I can get through it.
Right.
I showed up, but I didn't show up.
Right.
So show up,
Yeah.
especially if you want your marriage to change and be better. You got to show up. You got to break those barriers and do it with your spouse because
Yeah.
then they're gonna learn something about you, and you're like, I didn't know he was that sensitive. I didn't know she didn't like that. All
Oh
this
yeah.
time I thought her favorite color was blue. It's yellow. I didn't know.
Right. Yeah. It's amazing. It's amazing what we start to learn about each other. And I think the other thing is, I just want to say, because I think it's so important, and I'm going to speak to men right now. Um, I'm not here to gang up on you.
Right.
um, if you're a husband and your wife is asking you to go to coaching or counseling or whatever it is, or if you're wanting to go, this is not like a me and your wife versus you. Like,
Right.
that is not. I am very well versed in the problems come from both sides. No one person is to blame. And I think, Aly, I think what I hear over and over and over again is, a lot of times I work with wives and I don't ever get to meet their husbands.
Oh,
And so we can get far enough to change that marriage, right? Because each person has the ability to make changes even if their spouse won't come in.
right.
Um, and so each marriage can have greater success and greater joy and greater fulfillment, even with one spouse learning. But you imagine the change if you can get both. If you can
Mm-hmm.
get both, but so much it's, my husband's not interested because, it's just going to be us versus him, or he's not interested because nobody's going to hear him out, or, whatever. And that's so not true. I actually love working with the husbands, because there's so much they have to offer that they don't think they have to offer, and
Mm-hmm.
that their wives don't know they have to offer. And so it's just, I just really, so just that's my little bit. I just really
Yeah.
want to encourage you men, like, don't be afraid to step out and seek help. Don't be afraid to be two women versus you, or whatever. It's worth it. It's worth it.
Yeah, and if your wife is so gung ho on the marriage change, and just be like, can I have 2 sessions with Tina by myself? That
Yeah.
way, I don't feel like I gotta let me have these 2 sessions so I can just be free, and then let's come together.
Yeah.
So there's that kind of option. I like to tell people there are always options if we
Oh,
just
always.
think out of the box or open our eyes, or there's options. So
Always. Yeah.
don't think you're stuck. Don't think it'll never get any better. Um, you know, every situation, like we say, every situation is different. You're dealing with different things. So we're never telling anybody, just put up with this.
Right.
No, we're not saying that. But we're saying there's help for
Yeah.
wherever you are. And even if you're in a good place, but you're just like, well, I mean, we're good, but it's just typical. Every day we do the same thing, You
Yeah.
want some ideas on how to just take that to the next level.
Yeah.
There's that too, right?
And it's hard, and that's scary too. I mean, that's scary too. That was me. Like, that's my That's my personal story, was kind of discovering me.
Mm-hmm.
And when I discovered me, whoa, the changes that took place in my marriage, right? Like, um, yeah, there's always, there's always work, no matter how great your marriage is. If you would have talked to me 10 years ago, I would have told you that my marriage was fabulous. And if you talk to me now, I would tell you my marriage is more fabulous than it was 10 years ago. And I wouldn't have thought I could ever tell you that.
See, yes, I like that. I like that.
So you can always go up.
Yeah,
You can
yeah.
always go up. So,
Just like with anything else, like you said, it starts with us. We have to make that decision. And so you make the decision for yourself. And maybe your spouse is not interested at the time, but when they start seeing the difference in you, and then they start figuring out, well, she didn't yell at me this time when I did this, or so they might be like, well, what's going on? Well, this
yes.
is what's happening. It's happening at Tina's place. You want to come?
And when they see, right? So I'm going to just keep this on the husband route, but when they see this change in their wife, right? Because I'm really working with wives on, a lot of times wives are afraid to be initiators.
Mm-hmm.
And so when there's trouble in the marriage and the husband won't come to meet with us, we talk a lot about being brave and being the initiator and being able to say what you want, right? Because so many times the husbands just don't even know what their wives want or what they need or what they desire from them, besides, you're not communicating well, you're not doing the things I ask you to do. And that conversation is going to get you nowhere. Right. But when you can have the confidence to love your husband, even in the hard moments, if you can have the confidence to know that the love foundation is there, you've just kind of lost your way. And they start to see that, like, whoa, she's like all of a sudden like touching me when she walks by. Like, oh my gosh, she asked me what I wanted for dinner before she made it. Like, just these little changes that they see, and they see this work and they see this progress. And then they're like, well, I want in on the progress, right? Because everybody wants to be part of success.
Right.
And so if they start to see this success growing in the marriage, and the wife is the one perpetuating that success, they want in. And it's the same way if I work with a husband whose wife is like, I'm done. It's the same thing. Like, when she starts feeling this love again and seeing where it's coming from and watching these intentional behaviors, it's like, well, maybe I'll come just meet. Maybe I'll just come meet her and just see what you're doing, right? Because you see this success and you want to be a part of it.
Yeah.
How much more fun is it to say we put in the time and effort and we fixed our marriage together than, oh, well, really my wife did all the work, but it's good now. Nobody wants, where my husband did all the work. Nobody wants that. They want to be part of it.
Yeah.
So that's always the hope. That's always the hope.
Yeah, because you're like, well, she asked me what I wanted. Well, maybe if I started doing this, I can get that chocolate cake after. You know what I'm saying? You start thinking, well, what do I got to do to get this?
Yes.
So it definitely is a benefit for both. So, Tina, our time is coming to an end. I can't believe it. I want to. We're going to take a quick break and do some community announcements. And so while we're doing that, I definitely want you to tell everybody when we come back how they can follow you.
Okay.
How they can reach out if they need more information, want to work with you, and a last word of either advice or encouragement.
Okay.
So we'll be right back, everybody. Stay tuned.
Good afternoon. Thank y'all for tuning in to Making a Connection with Aly. This is information community news. Starting off this week, we are partnering with Proud Partnership Marine Corps Lead, PFC Bruce Larson, Detachment 1242, and Detachment 750 for the Toys for Tots. Drop-off locations, unwrap new toys, or gift cards. One of the locations to drop off is UNCC, Dean's Office, King Building at the CUC, 100 office, 5835 Executive Center Drive. Also, Oak Street Health, 6824 Harrisburg Road. We are serving North Carolina, South Carolina, and Georgia families. Families, you can apply by texting T4 to 704-380-7686, or you can log on at www.bitly/shbt at 4T. You can also donate via Cash App, $JCAHB220, or you can give by PayPal at AHEROSBALL220 at Gmail. Next but not least, Blacktopia presents the Black Business Power Gathering and Network Party, Saturday, November 13th. Tickets exclusively available on Evite. Support Black business. Come out and meet the money. Special guests, presenters, Zaimani Bordro, Wanda Bowie, Tierra Cooper, Kendra D, Aly Johnson, Alicia Richardson, and Tanai Staley. Hosted by Jonathan Coleman, music will be provided by DJ Wolf. Doors open at 7 p.m. Event started at 8 p.m. It will be located at the Waterbean Coffee Shop, 616 North Tryon Street, Charlotte, North Carolina. This is an Evite event. Ask Aly. My team and I want to help you make money, save money, protect your money. Life insurance, home and auto insurance, home security systems, legal representation, senior health care benefits, investment opportunities, and business opportunities. You can reach us at 980-389-6826. Once again, my name is DJ Bless 704. You can find me on Instagram under DJ Bless 704. If you have any community announcements, be sure to reach out to DJ Bless 704 at gmail.com or either DJ Bless 704-726-6714. Now we're taking it back to Aly. Y'all have a good afternoon. Take it away, Aly.
Thanks, DJ Blessed. I love DJ Blessed. He's awesome. And so we appreciate him doing our announcements for us. And because we're running at the end of our time, I want to make sure that you have the opportunity to tell everybody how they can reach out to you and follow you. And I think we have some banners with your information as well, and your last word of encouragement.
Okay. Again, I'm Tina Crawford. My business is Sweet Honey and Sacrifice. It is on all social media outlets. So YouTube, Twitter, Instagram, Facebook. I do have a Facebook group for women only, where we discuss marriage and intimacy. Singles, you are welcome, like we talked about earlier. Just look for the Sweet Honey and Sacrifice Women's Group on Facebook. I also have a Sweet Honey and Sacrifice page on Facebook that's for men and women. So come check it out. All of my blog posts are posted in both places. All of my videos are posted in both places. And then my website is sweethoneycoaching.com. That will link to my blog, to my appointment calendar. So you can message me through there or through Facebook and or through email. So please come say hi. Even if you don't need anything, I love to meet new people and have conversations and make new friends. Just come check it out. So my last words of encouragement would be just kind of along the same lines that we've been talking about, is be intentional. So if you are listening right now and you have a boyfriend, a girlfriend, a best friend, a spouse, a parent, right, and anybody that you just feel like there's some discord in there, reach out. Send a message that just says like, hey, I'm thinking about you. Like, I'm sad that this is where we're at. I'd really like to work together to get back, to a good place. If you're married and it's your spouse, Tell your spouse something you love about them. Start the conversation. You have to start somewhere, and be intentional with that. And just know that some people aren't going to respond right away, and it takes a few times. So don't give up. Um, just keep reaching out.
Awesome. Thank you so much, Tina. This has been great. I love it. Honey, you're welcome back anytime. We can just talk and talk. I love this. This is great information. And it's just being real. We're not saying at 6 o'clock you have to do this, 7 o'clock, it's just real life. Let's take it as it goes, but let's do it together. Let's communicate through it and let's, build. And so I love it. I appreciate you being here. Make sure you guys go look for her, follow her. Always some good stuff. Women, join these groups. And, even if you know somebody who's, marriage might be suffering, you don't actually have to say, well, y'all need to get it together. Just be like, I joined this group and it's so much information. Be creative.
Yes.
How you get them there. And
Yeah.
so, again, thank you. And you guys know, again, we are making connections with Aly here every Monday at 2 p.m. and every Saturday at 12 noon Eastern Standard Time. Follow us on Facebook and Instagram. And until next time, as always, we're leaving you with love, positivity, and good vibes. Have a good day, everybody. Bye, Tina.
Bye.